I looked at hollowing systems, and I'm too tight. I didn't want to pay the $300 to $500 it was going to cost to buy one of them. And besides, every one that I could find was relatively bulky. The Jameson, takes up the entire lathe bed, and it's the one that's touted the most. There's quite a few. There's one called the Roller now. It's similar to what we've got, only it's still bigger and bulkier. So I set out to make one, and it basically, and Robert will hand out, I have a parts list, and I probably didn't bring enough of those either, for anybody that wants to build one. It's very easy to build. As far as this part of it's concerned, it just consists of these 3 pieces of metal, 2 pieces of all rod, and several 4 nuts on each side. And you set the height of it based on the swing on your lathe. And the spacer that I have in here, I started out with washers, and then I put a metal spacer in there, and then I hit on the idea of putting a piece of rubber hose in there. And so if you put a piece of rubber hose in there, then you can screw that down to whatever you need, and you can have as much play in that without it being fixed. And so this is just a piece of rubber hose, and that's all that is, with a 1/2-inch hole in it. And this is 1/2-inch all thread, and these are, what's the size of those? Yeah. But this is a list. We have no, that's him over there. A parts list, and you can buy everything for this part of it and the handles for $25 or less, depending on who you buy it from. Now, the tools, the cutters, and all I did was take these pieces, put them in the drill press, and drilled a 1/2-inch hole in the end of it. Now, I have 2 different sizes of tools that go in these, so I've got a smaller hole in this end to fit the other smaller size, which you can't buy anymore. And then I drilled a hole all the way through it and threaded it for a set screw to hold this in place. And you're all going to get an opportunity to come up here, because we're not going to talk very long, and play with this thing if you want to. And you can come take pictures of it. I started to patent it because there's not anything on the market like it. And I got to thinking about how much of my life would be spent trying to get this thing on the market. And if you have the time and the talent and the effort, and you want to do it, have at it, because I'm not going to do it. And I'll even give you my blueprints and my books and everything else, but too much of my life would have been spent on the road trying to get somebody to pick this thing up. But it works very well.
Misprint.
Huh?
Misprint.
Oh. What did I do? 3/8 times a half?
It's supposed to be 1.5.
Oh, 1.5. Oh, whatever. Okay. It's supposed to be 3 pieces of 3/8 times 1.5, and I put 1/2 on here. So anyway, that's the flat bar for these 3 pieces right here. And the rest of it's just a drill press. I mean, just making something. So once we got that made, now we needed some cutting bars. Well, I took 1/2-inch, that's just bar stock, 1/2-inch bar stock. I heated it and put that curve in it, but you can do the same thing too. And you can either heat it with, if you happen to have an acetylene torch, you can heat it much faster, but if you don't, you can heat it with a propane torch. And you heat one section, bend it, and you're just trying to get that kind of a curve in it. And the reason for that curve is so you can reach inside the vessel and and I've done the same thing with this one, only it's a little bit bigger. Now, I had a machinist make this one, and he took a 5/8 and then put a 1/2 inch end on it so I could get it the same hole. So I couldn't do a 5/8 hole. Now, those two, either one of these will go to this depth right here. This was hollowed with that, with this system. Everything that's back here was hollowed with this system. And it's no trouble at all to go to that depth with these 1/2 inch tools. But if you're going to go deeper, then we made another one. And this one is 5/8 also, but it's heavier. And you have to, when you drill a hole, it actually cuts through the side and then it's all welded together. So this one is heavy enough that you can take this one down to the entire length of that bar, and it will continue to cut. Now, these are the tip that's on this. Will rotate, and you can actually put this on here and come back underneath that lip right there. Once you get over there to it, you can turn that in that angle and you can actually come under that lip. And this is a real expensive piece of material. This one was made out of just a chunk cut off of a piece of bar stock. And where's the other one? I've got two of them. Oh, here it is, right here. Yeah, this one, I took a nut like this right here, and I rounded it up, and then I took a file and I cut a slot in it to fit that cutter. The little cutter, if you look in the catalog, they want $7.50 for that. Well, I bought 10 of them out of another catalog that were about that long for like $6. Cut them in half, and now I had 20 cutters. So if you're interested in making one of these, I have more cutters than I will ever use in my lifetime, so I brought a bag of them, and I'll be glad to give you one before you leave. So this is, if you buy this unit out of the catalog, it's like $56 just for that cutter and that little ring right there with the nut. And but you can make it for the. Oh. Okay. You can make it for the price of that nut right there. Now, this is a scraper. You can also make this. This is made out of a piece of carbon steel, soft carbon steel, and you cut it to the length you want and you drill the hole in it before you do anything else. Then I heated it red hot, dropped it in a little bitty pot of oil, and oil hardened it. And you can't drill a hole in it after you do that. It's so hard. And we've got several of them, and you can make one of these for the price of one of those little pieces of steel. They're very easy to make. You just heat them red hot, drop them in, and they're hard as they could be. It's not high-speed steel, but when you're using it, you're not using it very long, and it will hold the edge for quite a while. You'd be surprised how long it'll hold it, especially, and you can, no more than it costs, you know, you can make several of them and keep them all sharp. So anyway, the other tools that we use are Kelton. These are Kelton, made by Kelton, and I have two sets of those. I have the 1/2 inch set, and there's 3 of them, and Kelton, they used to cost about $60 for the whole set. Now they're like $49 a piece. But you don't need 3 of them. These are the only 2 you need if you want to get those. And this is a set of 3/8 that Kelton makes, and we use these a lot on small things, but I can't find them in the catalog anymore. So I don't know. There's some other ones out there in this size that other people make, but gosh, they want an arm and a leg for them. But if you can find these are really handy for Christmas ornaments and, Halloween Christmas ornaments and things like that. Now, has anybody got any questions at this point? Because Robert's going to play with this. And if you want to come up then and take pictures of it, if you're interested in it, take pictures of it, ask any kind of question you want. We'll be glad to try to answer it. So we've been using this system now for about 10 years. Works like a charm. John's familiar with it. I gave John a complete system, and I think who else has got one of these? There's another one. You ever use it? Okay. Well, it's really user friendly, and so Robert's going to show you how to use it, and you can ask questions and all. Okay.
How do you sharpen your tips?
The tips, I have CBN wheels. You don't need CBN wheels, but you simply just turn them upside down like that. Set them on the shelf. Give them one quick rotation. And these have high-speed steel tips on them. So it takes you just set them at an angle, the same angle that is. Just give them a little rotation. Or you and we go just slightly above center. Raise it up just a little. Raise it up just a hair. It cuts much better, and these tools need to be put in the handles at a slight angle because it's a scraper. He's going back underneath that curve right now. Okay.
I noticed that Dale's quite a ways back from the on the bar. Does that make any difference?
You mean
Distance from here? Yes.
it doesn't matter? The distance that counts is the distance from here to there, over the tool rest is what's important. But it does not matter where you are back here. It's whatever's comfortable. You can move forward or you can move backwards. I like to have enough room back here to get my full hand on it. And if I'm going in deep, once I get deep enough to where I don't have a full hand, then I move this forward to give me more back here. Because I'll just sit here with my fingers, and just pull that through with my fingers, and you've got a little bit of a rotation just like that. And that's basically all there is to hollowing anything. And you can, if you notice, Robert was hollowing coming out. and he was hollowing going in. So it cuts both ways. And if we put the laser on it, let me talk about the laser just a minute. Now this is a really high-tech piece of equipment. It's made out of a couple of pieces of bar stock, and this was a piece of plastic that I bought to make an insert for making pins. You know, when you've got anything bigger than 7 millimeter, you got to have an insert. I didn't like them, so I used this one for this, and this is a well, those are really expensive, and that's the most expensive part of this whole little operation is buying one of these lasers, as you well know. I got these at Dollar Tree for $1 a piece, and they work. But the battery deal is not. I got a. What happened?
You dropped your batteries.
Out of this one? Oh, they've got no batteries in it. Okay. Anyway, when I saw what they cost, I bought a half a dozen of them. It's cheaper to buy the laser than it is to go buy new batteries to put in it. So this, and it won't stay on. Tear me off a piece of that tape. But it goes down in here, and what I do with it, and you can do something different. Can you tear that off? No, there's a knife. That's what I brought it for. That's fiberglass reinforced tape. You can't tear it. I can't anyway. Anyway, I just put a little piece of tape around the turn on button and wrap it on there. And then I stick it down in here. Just like that. And it goes in this hole. Let me see that just a minute. Let me see that other Allen wrench too. Wait, we don't have it down in there. Anyway, this whole laser attachment with the laser didn't cost $3. Now, have any of you ever used a laser in hollowing? Okay. Well, then you know what I'm doing. That's the wrong one. I brought the wrong one. Anyway, you set this laser just off of your tip, as you well know, and I brought the wrong Allen wrench, so I can't adjust it. But then, as you cut, this laser will move off of the edge, and it's really set pretty good right there. And once it moves off the edge, you know exactly where you are with your thickness, and you can set that thickness any way you want to. But anyway, you can make this laser attachment. You can take a picture of it and see how to make it and work it also. So, okay. Anybody? All of these things that are up here to show you the versatility of it. Everything was hollowed with this system. Can you see it? And these are up here for you to look at. This I showed this one time in show and tell. That's my burial urn. They're going to put my ashes in that one of these days. This was a crotch off of a Bradford pear tree, and to try to cut that and hollow that, holding a tool in your hand, would be it would be impossible for me. But by putting it on the lathe and using this, you've got total control of that cutting tip. And I hollowed that with this system right here. And that's 16th. You were asking about thickness. But that was a crotch of a tree. So that's what you can do with something like this. So, okay, any other questions?
Did you mention where you buy your steel bar stock?
There's and Robert used to own it. There's a metal place in Gainesville that if I want any metal, I talk to Robert and he goes and gets it for me. And that's where I got it. Any place that sells metal will have all of this kind of stuff that I'm talking about. It's just soft metal. There's nothing special about it. Nothing special at all. Any other questions? Did you pass out the supply list? Was there enough?
I'm just kind of comparing to like Delisle Denton. Do you ever have problems with torque on that back end?
Do I have what?
Problems with torque?
With torque?
Yeah, like Lyle Jameson's got that big V-ring.
No. It takes all the torque out of it. Yeah. Yeah, that's when the first piece I hollowed, and the first I hollowed a vessel about that tall. I made a handheld hollowing tool, and it took me forever. And that's when I said, I got to have something like this. Because the torque just eats you alive. If any of you that are hollowing with handheld tools, the torque eats you alive. And it's really difficult to keep your tool your cutting edge where you want it because of the torque. With something like this, it can't go anywhere. Cannot go anywhere. It's going to go right where you tell it to go. Okay.
Could you use aluminum for the handle because it's easier to achieve?
I don't know why not. For this part of it and for handles, you could use aluminum. If it's the main thing would be that the aluminum on the handles is hard enough that it will hold a thread and not strip your threads out. That would be the only problem I could see. But no, there wouldn't be any reason. As far as this is concerned, aluminum would be fine. All you're trying to do is capture this handle. Any other questions? Okay, I've got a list of the parts, and he'll pass out. I hope I made enough of those. Is there anybody that wants them? But he can put it. If we don't have enough, he'll put it on and you can print them out.
You'll have a sheet of
And when you're setting your tool up, as I said, these are scrapers, and so when you set the tool in the handle, you want to set the tip to where it's got a little bit of a downturn, because it is a scraper, and scrapers are designed to cut at this angle, not flat, and not like this. If you get it above center, if you get it flat or below center, all it's going to do is grab on you. So we we use that hole, and we set the tip at a slight angle, and then raise the tool rest where it's contacting the wood just above center. They seem to cut a lot better that way. Okay. Anybody else got any questions before we come up and start playing with it? Yeah, put your hand right up here. Just like put your wrist right up here.
Oh.
All right, now pull it. Just use your fingers just to pull it and push it in. And go back out to your hole and pull it this way. See the hole in the middle in there?
Oh, okay.
Now just pull it with your fingers.
Am I doing it right?
Yeah, go anywhere.
So you pull it all the way out to the pole?
It doesn't matter. If I'm hollowing, I'll normally take me a big hole all the way down in through to the bottom, and then I'll come out and get the sides. But you can see that it's not going to bite you. And that's what you're seeing.
Yeah, because I've never done a ball.
Yeah, it's not going to bite you.
I'm always afraid of it.
If you get a hold of this like this and then twist it like that, and that way it won't bounce on you. So is that better? She's already mastered it. Yeah.
Aggressive.
Yeah.